Oh, hello and welcome here to Davison Hall on campus at Saint Anselm College. Nick Anastos with you. It's the Saint Anselm Coaches Show right here every Tuesday, 5:30 to 6:30. You can hear the show on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. We'll speak in a moment with our usual first guest, head football coach Patrick Murphy. We'll hear from one of the players as well on the defensive side of the ball. Redshirt-junior defensive end Andrew Lebowitz will speak in about 15 minutes. Take a break, and then on the other side, talk a little cross-country. Paul Finn, 12-year head coach for both the men and the women, will join us. He's also a psychology professor on the Hilltop as well. And then cross-country runners Matt Gonnella and senior Joanna Marczyk will join us. That women's cross-country team for the Hawks ranked 6th in the latest poll in the East region. We'll also take a look back at the week that was and look ahead at upcoming athletic events on the Hilltop. But we begin with football. Homecoming over the weekend, and things were tight in the first half before Merrimack able to force some stops defensively and run away with the football game. The Hawks, again, did play pretty well, I thought, in that first half. And let's bring in Coach Pat Murphy right now. Was the turning point, Coach, early in the third quarter when it felt like your team came out, forced a 3-and-out, got the football back, came into the red zone, but came away empty? Was that the turning point?
Yeah, I think that started it. But I mean, we didn't play well, I felt, offensively all game long, and we did a decent job between the 20s, but you get paid to score. And we didn't do a good job of getting the ball in the end zone like we've done all year. Prior to this game, we were one of the league leaders in red zone scoring, red zone percentage. We're still middle of the pack, but we did a poor job. We're going 2 of 6 opportunities to score.
Was it anything in particular that Merrimack was able to do?
No, I mean, that's the thing. It's been pretty much the same case all year. We're our own worst enemy. Now, whether it's a bad read, a penalty, a poor snap, or a missed block, we had our opportunities. It wasn't anything that Merrimack did. It was more what we didn't do, and we didn't do a good job of controlling the things within our control. And like I said before, it's more games are lost, not won. And I think we definitely lost this game. We had our opportunities, and we didn't take care of business.
On the other side of the football, though, it seemed like, again, I felt like at times the defense stepped up and took that next progressive step.
Sure. That's one of the best offenses in the country, not just the NE10, one of the best offenses in the country. Our defense did a good job of limiting them. You're not going to hold them out completely, but they did a good job of limiting them and created some turnovers. And for the 4th time this year, we gave up a score on special teams, which definitely hurt. And we didn't do our job on offense as far as getting the ball in the end zone, like which I said earlier, we've done a pretty good job of all year.
Speaking with Pat Murphy, head football coach, following the homecoming loss against Merrimack, the secondary was tested, as we knew they would be, with that pass-happy attack from Merrimack. And overall, you thought that they held up pretty well.
Yeah. I think they had some garbage yards there at the end, meaning Merrimack. But outside of that, I thought our first group of DBs and quite a few of the second group, we were rotating guys all game long, and I thought those guys played it pretty well, and we just came up a little short in certain circumstances. And they're a young group, predominantly sophomores, and I think they're getting better week to week, and I think that's really what you look for from a young unit is are they progressing as the season continues, and I think we are.
Talk a little bit about the cornerback McDonald. Had an interception in that football game. I thought played pretty well throughout the afternoon.
Sure, absolutely. Tyrell has shown flashes since he's been here, and I thought this was probably his best overall game since he arrived here at the Saint Anselm. And like you said, he had an interception, made some big plays, big stops, breaking up on shallower throws. And really was very productive for us all game long, and was actually our defensive player of the game this week.
Got the game ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's, I think, got a bright future. And on the other side, we talk weekly about Carroll Bailey. Thought he played pretty well as well. What about at the safety spot with Trevor Jesse getting his legs back underneath him?
Yeah, I think we're getting better there. I think Tyler Lindsey, Joel Jorgensen. Joel came over from offense during camp, and I think he's starting to get comfortable.
Blocking an extra point.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he's a very athletic kid, and again, as he becomes more comfortable back there, I think you'll start to see him make more and more plays. And then Trevor, again, is getting more and more reps as he works himself back into game speed.
Can you see him getting healthier?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And just getting more, getting comfortable again with playing with a brace on his knee, and
he made a spectacular play, I thought, in the first half when he
Sure.
broke up a pass in the end zone, covered a lot of ground there, and seems like he gives you an extra element.
Yeah,
when he's healthy.
Very bright football player. Great football IQ. Moves well. He's played a ton of football for us here. He's been a starter since his freshman year, so really brings that element of experience that a lot of the younger guys don't have.
Speaking with Pat Murphy, head football coach here for Saint Anselm, here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. I'm Nick Anastos. The Hawks will try and get back after it coming up against AIC, and we'll preview that game against the Yellow Jackets in just a moment. But a couple of other notes I thought from Saturday and the loss against Merrimack in homecoming. Justin Bernard, 9 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. We talk about all the coverage, all the attention that he gets, and he still just continues to produce. It's amazing.
Yeah, Justin, like I said, Justin is an exceptional player. He's an All-American caliber football player, and he's having another great year, and he's one of our main guys. And I think him and Keith Charles have been as consistent as you could want from any athlete over the course of the season. Neither one of them has had a bad day at work.
Right.
So I mean, it's just a matter of them being consistent, and they're doing that, and we need to get other guys to elevate to that same level.
And we talk a little bit about, or we have spoken about, how Charles is one of those kind of quiet leaders, and being a senior and got a bunch of his teammates to stick around and work out extra in the summer. Paint me a more, I guess, clearer picture of Bernard and his role with the team. We don't talk about kind of his persona in the locker room and off the field as much as we do and know about Charles.
I think Justin's more in tune with the receivers as opposed to a larger audience. He definitely gets on those guys within that unit, and it's more of a subtle way. At times, though, he will become a lot more vocal and demonstrative, but generally it's directed towards that group.
Yep. So he's kind of the group leader, so to speak, for the wide receivers. Good stuff. We talked a little bit about the defense and the secondary, and the fact that they, for the most part, responded to that challenge against just a vicious Merrimack passing attack. And we'll speak, obviously, with Andrew Lebowitz, one of the DNs, in just a moment. But how about the front seven? I thought the middle linebacker particularly had kind of a coming out party this week.
No, I think Isaac's done a great job all year long, and he's been very consistent, and he understands what's going on, very much like Trevor. Great football IQ. The thing about Isaac, you time him in the 40 or get him in the weight room, he's not necessarily has the greatest numbers, but he's always around the football, and he has that knack for being there.
And you'd probably rather have a guy like that.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, I could care less about the numbers at times. It's, how are you producing? And he's been very productive over a long period of time here, and made several big plays the other day.
How about Zach Hayes as well? 8 tackles to lead the team.
Zach's starting to come into his own. He was banged up with little nicks and bumps through camp. Came in and really
this was
opened some eyes.
His best game.
Yeah, he's done a good job, and I think he's going to continue to just improve. And here's a guy just in his junior year, just starting to get used to a lot of reps and is producing. He was very productive in high school, played multiple positions in high school in a very good program, and has continued that here now.
Other standouts We know Lebowitz. You can plug him in for 3 or 4 tackles every week, and we'll hear more from the redshirt junior in just a moment. But how about Kyrell? Is it John Dew?
John Dew.
Saw him at least provide a little pressure on some of those third downs.
Kyrell's unique. He's a very good athlete, high motor.
He's a little raw at this point.
Very, very raw, but has the potential to generate a pass rush, and is very explosive off the snap. He's still learning how to use his tools appropriately, and I think he has a very bright future.
Speaking with head football coach Patrick Murphy as we take a look at the next time the Hawks will be on the field. It's this Saturday afternoon. It's on the road as they take on the Yellow Jackets of AIC. And as we know, Coach, that program surprising a lot of people across the Northeast 10. They've won, I think, 5 out of their last 6. A lot of those, obviously, conference games. They got a pretty balanced attack on offense. What do you think of AIC?
Yeah, AIC has been one of the top programs in the NA10 for the last 20-plus years.
Consistently pretty good.
Consistently, always towards the top. They have a very good program.
So this maybe doesn't surprise you as much.
No, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, coming back from last year, they lost a couple guys on defense, a couple guys on offense, but the bulk of last year's team is back. They were right there with New Haven, battling it out right to the end of last year for the league championship, and lost to back-to-back weeks to New Haven. But other than that, they were undefeated in the league.
That's right.
So I mean, they have the majority of their guys back. They have an exceptional quarterback in Ardino who can do a lot of different things.
Another running quarterback.
Any 10 version of Tim Tebow. He's a bigger kid. He's not as elusive as a Ronnie Nelson from New Haven, but he's a big kid, can run.
I mean, he's averaging 75 yards a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll do a little bit of everything with him. He is not as an accurate passer as Joe Clancy is, and as fast as Nelson, but he's a kind of a combination of those two guys. Which always makes it difficult when you have a mobile quarterback who's again started quite a few games over his career here and has had success. And he's surrounded by some exceptional athletes on the perimeter with their receiving core. They have a great offensive line. Biondi Marisma is, I think, one of the best offensive tackles in the league. They're a very good unit offensively. I think they're one of the league leaders in just about every offensive statistic. They were in the same boat a year ago. I think they're much improved defensively. They are big, strong, and fast. On defense.
Hard to find a weak spot.
Yeah.
Now, having faced a lot of those athletic quarterbacks early on in the season, does that help your team at this point, at this week, prepare?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, our guys know what we're up against. We did a good job against them a year ago. It's a matter of going out there and applying what we're going to go over in practice and in meetings and getting the job done. We have our work cut out for us, but is it a winnable game? Absolutely. We have to play a full 60 minutes, which we haven't done yet this year, and we've got to win the kicking game. We can't allow them to score again or set up a score in the kicking game like we have the last few weeks, and we've got to control the football on offense.
How do you get your guys to play a full 60 minutes? I mean, as a coach, there's only so much you can do from the sidelines, right?
Sure, that's our job, though. I mean, and it's a matter of putting them in situations in practice that they get used to handling adversity, and that's something for a young team. Because
I mean, how do you simulate that in practice?
Yeah, and you would put them in situations in practice very similar, that where they've got to compete, they've got to produce, and it's things that we do now. But we got to do more of it. We're a very young team. Majority of our guys are juniors or younger that are playing on a consistent basis. We have, I think, 4 or 5 seniors that are on the field contributing, but everyone else is young. And those seniors are doing a real good job. We're going to miss them, but our young guys need to grow up quicker, and they should be used to the adversity at this point, and that's the thing. We've got to handle adversity better, and outside of that, it's on us.
AIC, the opponent, that is a 1 o'clock start, I believe, on Saturday on the road as the Hawks look to get back to business. A couple more minutes here with head football coach Andrew Murphy. We'll talk with Mr. Lebowitz in a moment after that. Looking forward to that interview as well. Did I call you Andrew Murphy?
That's
or did
all
I
right.
call you Pat?
It's better than Keith. It's fine.
Of course, Andrew, the quarterback. Too many Murphys is the bottom line.
Sure.
Patrick Murphy is the sixth-year head football coach to my right. All right, game specifics, couple of keys that have to go your way on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've got to limit our Dino in the running game. We've got to control him there. He can't have 75 yards rushing.
Where does the emphasis lie?
To me, we've got to keep him in the pocket and force him to beat us throwing the ball.
So the contain is the big thing.
Because he's a much better athlete when he's out there running around. If we make him a pocket passer, turn him into a Drew Bledsoe type of guy and keep him in the pocket and force him to make throws that we made Clancy make, I think we're going to have a very good shot on defense. And then offensively, we got to finish. We've got to finish drives. And we've been moving the ball, and we got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot in the red zone like we did last week.
Coach, best of luck. Appreciate it.
Thank
Talk
you, Nick.
next week. Always a pleasure. That is Patrick Murphy, the head football coach, heard every Tuesday here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. And again, you can log on online. Listen there as well every Tuesday at 5:30. ESPNNH.com is the website. Keeping it moving and keeping it football-oriented with defensive end Andrew Lebowitz. Welcome aboard, sir.
It's good to be here.
It's good to see you finally in person. I've seen you for years up in the booth.
Yeah.
I think you're just as big in real life as you look down there in pads.
Thank you.
A lot of hard work. You missed the majority of your sophomore season, had a red shirt, and now here you are back as not only a starter but a leader on defense. How was the road back from that injury a few years ago?
It was tough getting an injury like that, and I think the worst thing is watching your team play and going through losses and wins and you not being a part of it. That was the hardest thing for me.
That's got to be probably the most frustrating thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tried my best to be a vocal leader as a sophomore, and but I really I pushed myself in the off season to get better, and I came back stronger and faster, and but it was hard to watch my team go down, and I couldn't do anything about it. So
I mean, how was the actual rehabilitation process for you? I mean, I know obviously watching your teammates on the sideline, but it must have been challenging to get your body back into shape as well.
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you this much: I also had surgery on my knee a year prior to my shoulder, and I think I was prepared because of that. I knew going into it what I had to do to get better, and with my knee, the pain was a lot worse. With my shoulder, I had the great training staff here at Saint Anselm helping me out, along with going down the street to New Hampshire Orthopedics, and it was a speedy recovery, and but it was hard. It wasn't easy.
Tough at the time,
yeah.
For sure. Andrew Lebowitz is our guest, defensive end. I played for Coach Tertiani. I don't know if you were aware of that.
That's a New Hampshire legend right there.
He is a New Hampshire legend.
He's great.
Sure.
He actually is the guy who called me when I was at New Hampton and recruited me to come here.
Really?
And when I showed up with my father at St. A's, and he took me into Coach Murph's office, took all the pictures down of Coach Murph and pretended like it was his office. So I was like, oh, this guy's a pretty big deal. And he got me to come here, so.
They kind of conned you into coming.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've talked off the air, and he gives me the dirt on the defensive line, of course, and he said that you are probably head and shoulders the best player on defense, the best football player on defense. Is that a warranted compliment?
Yeah. He tells me that all the time too, and he's just a great guy. And you know what? He's one of the better coaches I've ever had. So I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. So he could say that, but I also think he's one of the best coaches I've ever had. So
Andrew Lebowitz, our guest. He's the defensive end and has just been a terror on opposing quarterbacks so far this season. How has the season been going? in your eyes? I mean, forget the record, forget the wins and losses, but through 7 games, is this about what you expected, or what do you think?
It's definitely not what I expected. But I look at the positives as in we are growing as a unit. As a team, we are growing. We are getting better mentally and physically.
And I think it's noticeable. The D-line has legitimately been one of those units that has gotten better week in, week out.
Absolutely. Not even the D-line, but the whole defensive unit, I believe, is getting better. It's just about playing the full 60 minutes and really not harping on big plays. And I think we're really growing and we're getting better, and I think the future has a lot to come. So
now, when things aren't going right on the field, what happens amongst the players? I mean, are you one of those guys who will, if necessary, get in somebody's face?
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the job description of being a leader. You have to say things that no one else would really say. And I wouldn't say I get in players' faces, but what I do is, I tell the guys, settle down, calm down, just get your legs back and play the next play. And Coach Murphy says it all the time. You can't play in the past, you play in the now. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to play in the now. So I always reiterate that to the guys when we're on the field and even off the field. So.
You're from Andover, Mass.
Correct.
A couple of guys at my station are from Andover, Mass.
Oh, really? Really?
Not sure where they went to high school. I do not believe it was New Hampton Prep, however.
Right.
How was that experience?
I went to Andover all 4 years. I graduated, and I took a prep year at New Hampton.
Okay.
And it was an amazing experience. I met a lot of good guys, and I won a Super Bowl ring there too. So.
That must have been one of the highlights of your career, right?
It was awesome. It was interesting, going into camp. I didn't know anybody, and it was just unbelievable how much we bonded as a team, and it was quite an experience. A couple guys I played against and I played with, Jethro Colley of Bentley. I played with Jethro, so it was fun seeing him up there in Bentley, and it was just
still close.
Oh yeah, we talk every now and then, and it was all those guys. We still talk, and it was an amazing year. So. And
it was a football-based decision to take the prep year?
I think everything I do is a football-based decision, to be honest with you. Yeah, I wanted to take a prep year. I think I needed an extra year to develop as an athlete and in academics, and I was able to do things that I couldn't do in Andover. I played hockey at New Hampton. That was fun.
You play hockey at Andover?
I did, yeah. I didn't play on the varsity team just because my workout schedules, but at New Hampton I couldn't really be home to do my workouts where I normally do it. So I would work out and then I'd hit the ice, and it was amazing. It's the only outdoor rink I think around anymore, and that was just one of my favorite experiences at New Hampton, was playing ice hockey on an outdoor rink.
Andrew Lebowitz, the hockey player.
Yes.
Coach Cini might have to look into that.
Yeah.
Few minutes left here with Andrew Lebowitz, one of the defensive ends and one of the leaders on the Hawks defensive side of the football. Coming up, big game against AIC on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Now, what has to go right for you guys to win that game? Coach said specifically, contain that running quarterback.
Right.
I'd imagine that's priority number one.
Absolutely, and we saw a running quarterback in Bowie State. Kid was running all over the field. I know AIC predominantly he is the leading rusher. I'm sure in a lot of games. So contain is huge. It's all about the defense doing their job to be successful, and if everybody does their job, there's no reason why the defense can really be successful out there. So,
well, best of luck, my friend.
Thank you very much.
The pleasure was mine.
Absolutely.
Good luck. That
Thank
is
you.
Andrew Lebowitz, the redshirt junior, and one of the top to bottom best football players on campus. No question about that. So we welcome him, or thank him for coming on. And of course, it's all brought to you by Saint Anselm College, which features 20 NCAA Division II programs, most of which compete in the highly competitive Northeast 10 Conference. With over 100 home events this season, there are plenty of chances to catch the Hawks in action. If you can't make it to the game, log on to SaintAnselmHawks.com. Follow along with free live stats of every home contest, or better yet, be sure to check out SaintAnselmHawks.tv for live video broadcasts of every football, basketball, and hockey game, as well as other select events throughout the year. So we thank Coach Murphy. We thank Mr. Lebowitz. On the other side, we'll talk cross-country with Paul Finn, the head cross-country coach. He's also a psychology professor here on the Hilltop. Then Matt Gonnella and Joanna Marczyk, two runners, will join us. We'll take a look at the week that was and the week ahead, all on the other side, as the Saint Anselm Coaches Show continues in a moment, right here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Oh, welcome back here to Davison Hall. Nick Anastos here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, heard every Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:30 on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Special thanks to our first two guests from the football program, head football coach Patrick Murphy and junior defensive end Andrew Lebowitz. The Hawks take the field on Saturday. Tough road game against AIC. We'll speak with Paul Finn, head coach of the cross-country team, in just a moment, and then a couple of runners, junior Matt Gonnella and senior Joanna Marczyk. Quick reminder, ESPN New Hampshire and Apple Therapy have joined forces to find the most unique, accomplished, and skilled senior high school student athletes in the Granite State. Every week, ESPN NH will honor one high school senior boy and one senior girl for our Apple Therapy Student Athlete of the Week. At the end of the school year, all the monthly winners will be invited to a banquet where we will name our Apple Therapy Student Athletes of the Year and award one boy and one girl a $2,500 scholarship for college. All you need to be is a senior in a New Hampshire high school, play a varsity sport, and have a 3.0 GPA or higher to nominate. Send the player's name, high school, and accomplishments via email to matt@espnnh.com. All brought to you by Apple Therapy, bringing you back to your life. Well, a big cross-country event is happening on campus this weekend. On Sunday, the Northeast 10 Championships begin at 10 a.m. for the men and 11 a.m. for the women. And here to talk about it is longtime cross-country head coach Paul Finn. Coach, pleasure to meet you. It's not every day we get to talk cross-country here on the show.
No, appreciate it very much.
Big event, obviously. The kind of showcase, I would say, of the year. Is this the event that you really build both your teams up towards?
Definitely. The Northeast 10 coming in at the end of this week is a major focal point for us between the NE10 regionals to nationals. That's the hit that we have for cross-country on the college level.
And anything different you've done over the last week or so to get your team ready for this one event, or is it just kind of business as usual from a training standpoint?
No, as in college, as in many other areas, cross-country is a year-round activity, building up. A couple of weeks ago, we started transitioning from one type of training to another type, and this week we're actually doing a fair amount of tapering down so that the bodies are going to be in the best position to take on the challenge.
When you say you transition from one type of training to another, what does that entail?
Well, this is where the professor and me can become very boring, so I need to be careful of this. The ability to manage oxygen to its best capacity works about 90% of the time for the 5K. The 8K that the men are doing, that's about 85%. And then we shift it over to the body's ability to manage lactate in the system, which means shorter, higher intensity workouts.
Interesting. Head coach Paul Finn is our guest, talking about the upcoming Northeast 10 Championships, and we'll hear from a couple of players in just a moment. You mentioned it's really a year-round process. How do you train in, let's say, the winter versus the summer?
New Hampshire is a beautiful place to be living, and in the winter, if they're not doing the indoor or outdoor track meets where we have an adjusted schedule, they're running. We use the snowmobile trails out toward Massabesic and a number of related areas to get our long runs in, because they're still running 12, 15, 17 miles, depending on the gender. So year round varies depending if they're playing another sport, but we keep it structured.
You talked a little bit about the physics side of it and how certain distances, I guess, affect your body and your oxygen intake differently. Does running outside versus, I mean, obviously in New Hampshire it's cold outside in the winter. Would running around freezing temperature be different than running in, let's say, 90-degree sweltering heat from a body perspective?
Oh, well, the nice thing about running at freezing temperatures, once you're warmed up, you can actually leave some of your clothes off on the trailer to the side. And 90 degrees usually is associated with humidity, and humidity is a factor that's going to slow you down. And clothes management is not as great. Most of the runners enjoy speed at moderate temperatures, not high temperatures.
So right now is probably about as perfect as it gets?
This is a nice time, and this weekend you'll see folks coming out with caps and gloves and all the warm-ups on, but once they get underway and the warm-ups are done, the gun goes off, they're not going to need much, even though it should be 40s about time it go off.
Head coach Paul Finn is our guest here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Men and women in the Northeast 10 Championships right here on the Hilltop beginning Sunday at 10 a.m. And, Coach, you and I talked a little bit off air, and you said running on your home course really does make a difference in cross country.
Oh, certainly. We have one of the best true cross-country courses there are. There's an excitement on campus for it, from our grounds crew all the way up to our new president, Dr. DeSalvo. There's an excitement and energy. The course will be lined with hawks throughout. And it's a course that we know very well. We know the angles and the curves, and athletes have been out blowing it off this week. Grounds crews preparing it. So there's a home course advantage, not just with the athletes, but with the uniqueness of each course.
Where does the course run?
The course has no pavement. It starts off and the fields, circles around the field, so it's observer-friendly, goes down off into the woods and cuts through what we call our O-zones, 3 very large fields. And so there's moderate hills involved in the course, loops around, and finishes in front of the soccer stadium, so it has a nice crowd-friendly finish to it as well.
Are most courses kind of follow the same type of plan, or is one course that you've been to noticeably different maybe from some of the others?
They're all very different. There tends to be a national trend toward more flat courses as schools are trying to use mid-distance. For some of the track folks, they prefer flat. Ultimately, many runners would much rather run through muck and over hay fields and across rocks. That's not the coach's delight, but the courses are all very, very variable, and we won't have mud this weekend, which is great.
You've been here as the cross-country coach for 12 years, is that right?
Correct.
And as a psychology professor as well. How long have you been employed here?
I think that was the Paleolithic period, going back a little bit of time. It's just been since 1986 that. So
you've probably seen it all here on the Hilltop. How has things changed over that long of a period of time?
You know, what stayed the same in many ways are the students, and that wasn't your question. But the excitement, the energy that's come forward with the students has been great. The physical plant to Father Jonathan, tenure here has developed tremendously. And the school's entering into another push now in terms of continued facility development focused on enhancing the student experience. I went here as a student, graduated 73. We certainly did not have a hockey arena, did not have turf. Many of the buildings weren't here. The growth has been exponential over the years.
Seemingly as well over the last decade or so, and I'm familiar beyond my tenure as a broadcaster here. I attempted basketball camps in the 90s and lived right next door in Bedford. It seems like the last 7, 8, 9 years or so that there's really been more of an emphasis on athletics, and it seems like all departments are kind of moving in the right direction when it comes to sports.
That is correct, and you're going to see more so. Dr. DeSalvo, our new president, was a varsity tennis player. He embraces the sports, and we're going to see another step forward in what we do and how we manage it. And it's an exciting time to be coaching and to be seeing what's happening here. And it's also an exciting time to be hitting up the NE10 this coming Sunday. It's going to be a great field, good competition, and the athletes. The biggest thing for me now is keeping the excitement down a little bit so they don't go off too fast.
Got to temper them a little bit at the
Absolutely.
starting line. The 10 a.m. start is set for the men, the women, an hour behind at 11. That is, again, Sunday here, the men's and women's cross-country championships for the Northeast 10. And I guess we got a couple minutes left here before we talk to Matt Gonnella and Joanna Marczyk. Coach, can you give me any dirt on them?
Certainly. They're sitting right in front of me, shaking like leaves. It's always exciting to make yourself public. Sorry about that. I'll pay for that later. I have fantastic captains. I got 3 women captains, 2 men captains. Any of them would be very happy to be here today. Great leaders. They're all ready to go out this weekend and lead them on. Joanna has been here for 4 years. She is tough as nails. Matt comes from the far reaches of New York. He's a distant recruit. He came here solid, strong, and he continues that way. And we've got a group of front men going out Sunday that he's definitely motivated and set the example to. It's going to be exciting.
Now, as we mentioned, you're a psychology professor as well. How'd you get into that field? I'm just curious because I'm a curious guy, I guess.
Oh, my. Well, I'm a licensed psychologist, background in neuropsychology, health psychology. In the health psychology and working with people trying to advance themselves to the next point, trying to manage a cancer, cardiac disease, etc., was exciting to work in. And coming in to the college here and shifting over to the area of sports psychology gradually in time and moving to a coach, it's the same concept of working with a person who wants to do something they're not quite sure they can do, and then bringing that to a team that's not quite sure and bringing the expertise out and developing the talent to go to places where they weren't quite sure they could go before, all while trying to manage injuries and everything else that comes with a challenge. Because for these runners, they've got to not just run fast. They've got to step into a zone where their brain says, if you keep doing this, something bad's going to happen to you. You're not going to make it. Slow down.
Right.
And they have to deal with that psychology. It's an exciting process to work with that.
Fascinating stuff. Appreciate it. That's Paul Finn.
Thank you
Head
very
coach,
much.
good luck on Sunday as well.
Thank you.
That is the cross-country coach and a longtime fixture in the classroom here at Saint Anselm College. So we thank him for joining us. And up next, we'll speak with Joanna Marczyk, one of the seniors. That women's cross-country team, very good, ranked 6th in the East region. And also the junior from Syracuse. That is Matt Gonnella. For the end of the show, we promise we'll look back at the week that was and take a look at the week ahead. Cross-country, well, that big Northeast 10 event, not the only thing going on sports-wise this weekend. So we'll talk to, right now, Joanna and Matt. They join me. I guess you guys are going to have to share a microphone. I apologize, but I guess we'll start with Joanna. You're a senior?
Yes, I am.
Coach said that you were tough as nails. How's that for a compliment?
I mean, it's a great compliment to get from Coach.
Is that true?
I hope so.
Now, how are you as tough as nails? Are you one of the enforcers on the team? Are you one of the team leaders that can get vocal on occasion?
I'm not the vocal one. I'm the one that leads by example, I'd say. So when our workouts get tough, I'll push through and hopefully help my teammates by giving an example to look up to.
And what about you, Matt? Are you as tough as nails as well?
I don't know. Coach does a lot of things, but I'll just take his word for it.
How'd you guys end up here at St. A's? Matt, we'll start with you. I know you're from Syracuse.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
the
from Syracuse.
region.
I got a free application, so that's how I came here.
It was that easy, huh?
Yeah, it was that easy. It's a good school. I'm happy that I'm here. I don't think, it's a good school. I'm happy.
Joanna, you're from Connecticut.
Yes.
Did you get the free application as well?
No, but as soon as I came to visit St. A's, I knew this was the school I wanted to go to, and then I started talking to Coach and decided I wanted to run cross country also.
Was it the campus that really made a strong impression?
It was the campus and the atmosphere. Everyone was really nice and welcoming. So.
Joanna Marczyk and Matt Gonnella, our guests here. A couple of cross-country runners taking part of this upcoming weekend's Northeast 10 Championship held right here at Saint Anselm. Let's return to Matt here for a second. You said you didn't know too much about Saint Anselm, the college, or?
No, I never heard of it before until I applied. So.
And how'd you find out about the cross-country program?
I looked on the website and I emailed the coach and we had good dialogue and yeah, here I am. So
was that something that factored into your decision?
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to run wherever I went to school. So.
And what's your background at Syracuse in terms of athletics as a whole? I'm sure you were a cross-country runner there as well.
Yeah, I ran for 6 years cross-country and track, and I have 12 varsity letters, and I ran for a very good team, and I had good coaches, and yeah.
That's as picturesque as it gets, I suppose.
I suppose so, yeah.
What about you, Joanna? I'm sure you were an athlete as well in high school.
I was. I actually played lacrosse for 6 years, and I only ran cross country for 3 years, so it wasn't until my senior year of high school that I got really serious about cross country and decided I wanted to go further into college. But originally I was thinking about pursuing lacrosse.
Were there other options with lacrosse at that point, or?
At that point, no, because I made my decision to commit to cross country, so I did track my senior year.
What do you guys think of Coach?
We like him. He's a great coach.
He seems like
yeah.
a very down-to-earth kind of guy.
He is.
What's it like knowing his background as kind of a psychology major? You ever think he's playing mind tricks with you at any point?
Sometimes. He does like to analyze us, but we do trust him a lot. We know he's very smart, and when he tells us to do a workout a certain way, we know that it's for our benefit, even though we might not see that benefit immediately.
Girls cross-country team ranked 6th in the East region. That's according to the latest poll. Tell me a little bit more about the women's team. Seems like you got a pretty good squad.
Yeah, we've been working very hard this year, and our front runners have been very strong. We're running close together, which helps us place well since our times obviously help with placement. And that we have a lot of depth, so it's not just our top 5, but it goes further down the line. So if one of us is injured, we know that someone else can pick it up and work hard for us.
Now, Coach said there's a distinct advantage running on your home course versus on the road. You find that true as well?
It is true. We do know every single 1,000-meter mark exactly where it is. We know how to pace ourselves. We know where the hills are. We know where to push. We know where to take an inside turn versus an outside turn. And it's just great to have all of our friends out here and have that atmosphere and having everyone excited for us.
Right. That's an obvious benefit, I would think. Matt, what about you? You've had some of your better finishes here at this course, according to my notes. The Shacklet Invitational is one of those events year in and year out you seem to thrive at.
Yeah, I really like our course. I like the hills. It's a big challenge, and I like a challenge. So,
is it one of the tougher?
Yeah,
courses
it's one of the tougher courses. It's
conference?
definitely one of the slowest courses in the NE10, and we all like that. And
probably too long for me to finish at this point.
Oh yeah, it's not fun.
A couple more minutes here with a couple of gifted runners, the senior Joanna Marczyk and Matt Gonnella, the junior, who made his way over from Syracuse, New York. This is obviously the big tournament, the one that I guess kind of looms over all the others throughout the years. You train in the off season, getting ready for it. Anything you guys might do different last minute come Sunday morning, or is it just going to be kind of the same routine and business as usual?
I think it's very important to stick to the routine that we've been doing all year.
And what is that routine?
We would warm up for 15 minutes, just a normal jog, and then we do 2 minutes at a hard pace and then 2 minutes at an easy pace. And we'd stretch, do plyometrics, and then go out to the line and stride out.
Same thing with the girls, I assume, as well.
Yeah, we have a very similar pre-race routine, so we're sticking to that. And throughout the season, we've tried different racing tactics, so we know exactly what will work and what won't. So we've gone over that with our girls, and we're ready.
Good stuff. Well, I wish you both the best of luck, and thanks for joining me here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck. That is Matt Gonnella and Joanna Marczyk, two of the better runners here for Saint Anselm, and we do wish them the best of luck. Men, they'll hear the gun at 10 a.m. this Sunday morning, and then women an hour later. That's at Malucci Field. Special thanks to Paul Finn as well, helping break down the course, and really some fascinating stuff when you continue to learn more about it. So the big kind of Super Bowl, the conference championship for both the men's and women's lacrosse team on the hilltop right here on Sunday morning. Saint Anselm College, it features 20 Division II programs. They all compete in the Northeast 10. There are 100 home events this season. Plenty of chances to catch the Hawks in action. Log on to SaintAnselmHawks.com for free live stats, or check out the live broadcasts at SaintAnselmHawks.tv. All right, we've been teasing it all show. Now it's time for the recap. The week that was. We begin with football. A 51-9 homecoming loss against Merrimack. Back on Saturday, the Hawks made it close in the first half, 14-9 after one and just 20-9 after two, but a couple of late penalties in the third quarter squandered some red zone chances, and Merrimack improves with another victory. So the Hawks still looking for that first win. They'll try and get it on the road at AIC this weekend. Field hockey 0-2 last week. They were blanked 5-0 by 9th-ranked Merrimack on Tuesday, and then dropped a 5-2 decision at Adelphi on Saturday. Sophomores Colleen Sears and Canada Stewart each scored equalizing goals against Adelphi, but the Panthers scored 3 straight to pull away for the victory. Freshman Rose Mooney added an assist on the Stewart tally, and freshman goalkeeper Catherine Sears made 6 saves against Merrimack, stopped 7 shots against Adelphi. Sophomore goaltender Shauna Whittemore, who had missed the previous 4 games, came back, made 2 saves in the final 21-plus minutes of action. After a week off, the men's soccer team returned to the field Wednesday at Malucci as they took on Franklin Pierce University. St. Anselm fell 3-0, but senior goalkeeper Mark Kutsopoulos made 6 saves, and the Hawks produced several offensive chances. On Saturday, Hawks traveled down to Southern Connecticut State, where they fell 2-0 against the Owls. Women's soccer went 0-1-1 on the week as they were taken down by Franklin Pierce 3-2 on Wednesday, and then battled to a 1-1 draw with Adelphi on Saturday. St. Anselm now stands at 5-6-2 in 2013. Callie Millett had a hand in both goals, including a goal and an assist against the Ravens, while Taylor Levy netted the first goal of the game. In heartbreaking fashion, Franklin Pierce sunk a penalty kick in the final minute of the game for the win. Against the Panthers, freshman Kendra Bonzar scored the game-tying goal late in the second half, but that was all the offense could muster despite a few chances in the 1-1 tie with Adelphi. Volleyball dropped its only match of the week, a non-conference game to Endicott College 3-2 on Thursday evening. Senior captain Kyla Gustafson locked down her 4th double-double of the season with a team-high 15 kills and 14 digs. Senior Vivian Fitzgerald finished with 8 kills for a team-best 368 hitting average, and sophomore Lauren Oxley recorded 9 kills. Cross country, they were idle this week, but they've been preparing all year to host the Northeast 10 Championships on Sunday, October 22nd. Events on the hilltop this week. Let's start with today. Women's soccer in action against Southern New Hampshire. That is a 3:30 home game at Malucci Field. Volleyball plays tonight at Stoutenburg, 7:30 against St. Michael's. Tomorrow, field hockey back at it. They'll host Bentley College or Bentley University at 7 p.m. That's at Grapponi Stadium. Come down to Grapponi as the field hockey team honors its 3-member senior class on senior night. Then on Friday, the volleyball team takes on Adelphi, 7:30. That's also at Stoutenburg. Saturday, volleyball versus Pace, 1 o'clock. Head over to Stoutenburg and help the volleyball team raise breast cancer awareness as it celebrates Dig Pink. Men's soccer will host St. Rose at 2 o'clock. So come down to Malucci as the men's soccer team recognizes its 9-member senior class on senior day. And then, of course, on Sunday, men's cross country in the Northeast 10 Championships at 10 a.m. That is right here at Saint Anselm at Malucci Field and on the cross country course. Women's, same deal, beginning at 11 a.m. Special thanks to our friends Eric Copeland and Mackenzie Frazier for helping set this one up. They always do a great job. As always, our engineer back in the ESPN New Hampshire studios is Tom Rowe. And special thanks again to our guests, head football coach Patrick Murphy, Andrew Lebowitz, the junior defensive end, Paul Finn, head cross-country coach, and junior Matt Gonnella and senior Joanna Marczyk of the cross-country teams. I'm Nick Anastos. Reminder, we're back next week, Tuesday, same time. You can hear this 5:30 to 6:30 every Tuesday night on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. So long. Until then, I'm Nick Anastos saying adios. See you next time on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show right here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com.